Hey everybody, got some new stand-up dates that I'm excited to tell you all about. On April 19th, I will be hosting High Desert Relief's 420 show at Launchpad. I'll be there alongside my friends, the Mango Cakes and the Rhythms. Very excited for that. April 25th, I will be at Revel Backstage. Myself and Trip Stilnecki will be taking each other on in the roast battles. And then on May 2nd, I'll be at the Guild Cinema featuring for Ben Roy. May 3rd, I'll be over at Unhinged Brewing. And then May 17th, I'll be up in Santa Fe at Knuckles Brewery. Then on May 27th, Austin, Texas, I will be at the Creek in the Cave for Lady Titty Tuesdays, their gong show. Super excited for that. Going out to Austin again. And then rounding out the month, I will be doing Don't Tell back here in Albuquerque on May 30th. All of the events that have ticket links will be in my bio on Instagram. Very excited to be all these shows. Hope to see you guys there.
Hey, man.
In better audio this time.
Yeah, buddy.
Cheers. It's good to see you again.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for working me into your schedule.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Bullet. Oh yeah. I don't know what happened. I tried with the audio last time. I tried figuring out like if it was a corrupted audio file thing or like what it was, because I think on my audio it was like the first 5 minutes recorded, and then for you it was like the first 6, and then after that, and it showed like, so if I click on the file, it showed like the full like 3 hour and some change like timeline on the bottom of the player, but then you click out and it just wouldn't play. And then when I went and put it onto the and I put it on like the editor, it showed like no wavelengths. I was like, what the fuck is going on? So I did everything I could to like defrag it and like figure out what was going on, and it just didn't work.
Yeah. So it was video only.
Yeah, so it was video. It was, and I'm happy that, you know, the studio is not the most soundproofed in the world, but you know, it's not a lot of reverb, and the camera audio isn't great, obviously, but it's not trash.
Right.
So I hope people still stuck around and watched as much as they could out of that.
So.
But yeah, like,
did we get good viewership?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's great. That's all. I like your podcast because sometimes I'll do podcasts and I'm like, how many people listen? They're like 12. Like,
well, you'll be happy to know that I think your episode got up to like 50 or 80 around there. And then I had one of your clips went up to like 80, and then another one of your clips went to like 120, 150.
Hey, that's great.
So hey, we're working.
That's great.
We're working our way up.
I love it.
I haven't checked the Spotify numbers. Like, I just found out today. I didn't even know this. I found out today the podcast is on Amazon. Didn't know that.
Okay.
So this podcast can be listened to on Audible.
So they just pick it up? You just get absorbed. Once you're with one carrier, they are probably beholden to another mothership?
Yeah, that's what I kind of assume is like, because I put all my stuff through the, what's it called? The Spotify for podcasters.
Okay.
And I think they just send out the RSS feed to every like major carrier and stuff. So,
okay.
But let's tell you the story before we started. I got put in contact for the booker of a pretty big comedy club chain. I'm not gonna say which one, but I told you, and I'm very happy about it. Now my question, where I stopped the story, was, so I got the contact, emailed them, after I got home from work. So I emailed them at like 7:00 that night. Dude emails me back at like 9:30. He replies to me with the booking manager. So this is the owner and then booking manager.
Great.
And I'm like,
it's moving. It's moving fast.
Yeah, so I replied back, and here's where I think I fucked up. Because
I've been in a million of these situations.
Yeah.
I can armchair what's happening.
Yeah. So and I hit up a friend of mine who shout out to Allison out in Austin. She actually booked me for my first out of town gig.
I love the name Allison.
Yeah, she's book this guy for your gigs. He's hilarious. He levels rooms. It's awesome. So I hit her up about it because I go to her for a lot of stand-up business stuff.
Okay.
And she's really good at it. And I explained her the situation because what had happened is they emailed me back and he's like, hey, good to meet you, small world. I've added my booking manager. And he was upfront about it. It's like, hey, like, we don't pay for travel. We don't pay for anything like that. But, if you can get out here. I was like, yeah, that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
Like, I have slept in my car many a times. Like, I am not opposed.
You're obsessed.
Yeah, no, I will 100% go out there on my... Yeah, no, that's not an issue at all. I'm happy to drive and all that shit. And like I said, my companies that I work with is very accommodating with time I need off. So
They give you stay at the comedy condo. They give you lodging.
No.
They don't give you lodging.
No lodging, none of that. No, which is fine.
Okay.
I got friends in all those
You're
cities.
obsessed.
Yeah, but I've got friends in all those cities. And even if they're not in town, I'll sleep in my truck.
Okay.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm cool. Or I could just borrow. I have a lot of my buddies are like outdoorsmen.
Okay.
So they have like, how you can put the like a tent on the back of your truck.
Yeah.
I'll just borrow one of those.
Yeah.
I truly could not fucking care
See,
less.
I keep chiming in, but we're not at the question.
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't know. Nope. No, not there yet. Okay.
Yeah, so here's where I think I fucked up because they tell me all of that. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by the amazing people over at Chopped Chili. Guys, this is personally my favorite chili brand here in the state of New Mexico, and you can find them online at choppedchilico.com. You can also find them all across the state of New Mexico at Sprouts, Albertsons, Smith's, and a bunch of other stores in Albuquerque, Santa Fe, Las Cruces. I believe they're even down in El Paso now. They sell red and green chili, of course. My personal favorite is this blend of red and green, and they also sell online frozen bags of green chili. So again, go to choppedchilico.com to get yourself some amazing chili today. Now back to the podcast. And because I didn't ask them for anything big. I was just like, asking to be at the club is big. But like I was like, I want a feature, or I want a blah, blah, blah. No. I was like, hey, I would love to like host or open or like guest spot. Like that's all I want.
Okay.
I'm not trying to do anything big. Because I don't have a tight 20 minutes at all. So I have no business featuring anywhere.
That's smart.
And B, I just want to get my face out there.
Yeah.
Get my name out
Different
there.
experiences.
Exactly. Just show them
New
that
clubs.
I've got it. You know
Okay,
what I mean?
great.
Yeah. So they were like, hey, that's perfectly fine, all that. Send us some dates that you're available. We don't know if it's feasible for you to travel like that, but go ahead and send us some dates you're available. Here's where I think I fucked up. I think I made the mistake by saying I could be anywhere at any time. Just give me a 1 to 2 week notice.
Right.
That's where I think I fucked up because I sent that email.
Well, yeah, that's a little flexible.
Yeah, and I didn't get anything back.
Oh, don't worry about that.
So then, here's what happened though. So
Yeah.
I hit up my friend Allison, and I was like, "Hey, did I screw up?"
Yeah.
And she was like, "You didn't screw up, but you should probably just send him some dates, dumbass." And I was like, "All right."
yeah.
And I was like, "All right."
I
sounds
agree
good."
with her.
So was it a big flub? And then the next time that I have
What'd you tell him again?
I just told them, "Hey, I could be in any of those cities with a 1 to 2 week notice."
Yeah, it's not a flub. Don't overthink it because that's all we do of like, it was my chance. No, it's not a total screw up. But because it's all casual in my book. If they're like, yeah, you can come out here. We don't pay travel. We don't pay lodging. When they say that, it's casual city, man.
Yeah.
So don't sweat it.
Okay.
Now, if they were like, okay, we arrange flights and we put you up, blah, blah, blah. Then it starts to solidify into a gig.
Right.
This is all casual. Hey, we'd love to put you on our stage. So with that in mind, yes, you want to be available and you want to let them know that you're into it, but don't sweat the 1 week, 2 weeks notice. Your little subdivision you're in with this conversation with them is called Casual City. Okay. So don't sweat that at all. No, not at all. Yeah, she's right. It's kind of a pro move to be like, here's my available dates. Because we think, and they think this to a certain degree too, of like, oh, well, he's pretty in demand. If he's got, these are just the available dates for summer or whatever, or the month of May. But yeah, no, you're in Casual City with this. Don't sweat that at all. Okay. Now, if they go, wait, we want to get you out here as soon as possible, and we want you to feature, and if you could stay out, we'll do 2 weekends in a row. And if you go like, I need 1 to 2 weeks notice, that's not good. But you're in a casual subdivision. It's totally fine. It's okay. But we overthink everything. I worked with Paul Rodriguez a little bit, and he goes, I want you to go on the road with me. And I go, great. It's Hollywood, so I just take everything with a giant grain of salt. I'm like, yeah, sure. In my mind, I go, it's never going to happen. And then 2 days later, he goes, I need you at the Laugh Factory in Vegas on Friday. And so what I did, I don't sweat it because facts are facts. I was already booked, so I go, hey, I just need a little more notice. And I would have loved to have my dumb name on a marquee. I've had my name on a casino marquee, but not Las Vegas. So I was like, oh, that'd be great. Play the Laugh Factory because he's one of the part owners. That'd be great to get in there.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, and I think he still is. Who knows? And I go, oh, in Vegas? That'd be fantastic. But it's still, I could only tell the truth in the moment. And the moment was, I can't do it. I'm already booked that. Closer. I'm already booked that weekend. I can't just show up and I think he gave me less than 72 hours notice. Now, if I had nothing going on, I would have been in Vegas like that.
Right.
But I had to tell him, hey, man, I'm sorry, I'm already booked. So you can look at it one of two ways, like, oh, boy, buddy, you screwed up. That's Paul Rodriguez. He's a legend. He's been on every version of The Tonight Show. He's a great actor. Or you can look at it like, well, you're in demand. So, he might be like, oh, damn. Now, he hasn't called back since. But I'm not too worried. I don't even know what the rate was. Anyways, it might have been like, yeah, come in. I want you to go on the road with me. But I think, because he asked what I made the show when we did it, he goes, that's not enough at all. So it's probably paid pretty well. So now that I'm thinking about it, I screwed up. What am I doing here? No. No, so that, if I was posing you that question, you'd be like, yeah, you should have done everything you could to take that gig. But I was already booked in something that probably paid something comparable to it.
Right.
And also, I can't let those people down. I can't flake on those people. I don't even remember what the gig was. But I can't be like, sorry, I'm going to Vegas at last minute's notice, because they're like, we're not going to bring this guy back.
Right.
So I kept whatever that gig was, which I don't remember. But you're totally fine.
Cool.
Yeah. If, like I said, if they were like, okay, we want you to do 20 minutes, 4 shows, at the end of this month, you're like, well, I'm going to need 2 weeks notice. Then that's not good, because then they're like, what? I thought you really wanted to work with us.
Oh no, they'd give me all that, but I'm there. I'll be the day before. I'll set up the sound. I'll clean.
Yep.
On Sunday night, I had I sat down and I went through their calendar of who they have coming in, and I looked at it and I was like, okay, what is realistically something I get booked for based on my skill and experience? What's realistic for that?
Smart.
And then when am I actually available?
Yeah.
And I isolated 2 to 3 dates per club, sent it out. We'll see what happens.
That's good. No, you did the right thing.
Yeah.
You're in good shape. It's still casual subdivision. Now, it becomes a different subdivision when you get out there and you do well for them. Then it becomes different. Then you have capital to burn, and then you start forming a little relationship with these people to be like, hey, I'd like to work all your clubs. You saw what I can do, when you need me there. And I live regionally. That always sounds good, too. I could fly anywhere from Albuquerque. I could be anywhere in, hour and a half, 2 hours from all those destinations, if that. Easy. So, no, you played it. Don't sweat it at all. Allison's smart. You can give some certain specifics are always good in any business transaction to be like, because that's what drives me crazy when I work with producers I'm like, I need this answer about this thing. And then they're just and it happens at the very top of gigs, and it happens at the very low of gigs too. It's just, I think it's people that are gravitate towards entertainment business. It's when I lived, I'm sure Los Angeles is still this way, but everyone's like, they get to when they can, right? And I came up really getting my reps in the Midwest, where everyone's like, if I go, hey, I need this demo reel edited, and they'll be like, great, Friday, 2:00. In Los Angeles, yeah, I need this demo reel edited. They're like, okay, yeah, great. A month goes by, they're like, oh, yeah, man, yeah, man, it's on our radar. I hate those words. It's on our radar. So
yeah, it's annoying. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm hoping those pan out, because
that'd be great.
Yeah.
Plus, it's just fun to be in different types of clubs,
Well, I had Buck in here last night, and we were talking about, because I'm going out to Austin next month to do a show, and hoping to get on a few more, but I definitely got one, and I knew what was going to come out of it. Yeah, well, that's going to find out if you're funny or not. Because once you're out of town and you're you need to figure out if you're funny elsewhere, not just where you're from.
Yeah, but your stuff isn't New Mexico, is it?
No.
See, you're fine.
No, yeah.
Is that what he means?
Yeah. So I'm just hoping that when I get out there, my stuff still travels.
Oh yeah, it'll travel.
Because
you're not
excited.
like a lot of local comedians, and I do it when I'm in any market. But you have some localization stuff. Sometimes when I'm on a tour, my first 5-6 minutes is all local. It's not New Mexico, of course.
Right.
That's what cracks me up when guys are like, "Hey, man, can you get me on a ship?" And I'm like, no one on a ship knows where Espanola is. I can try. Can you go a month without weed?
Yes, I can, Cody Dove. I can
All
go
right.
month, though. I can go my whole life without weed. Get me on a ship.
Jot this down here. Okay,
Noah's not an addict.
Can go a month without the weed.
How? Well, I know we kind of touched on this last time, but when you are going on the ships, 'cause I know you do regular stand up on the ships. I've also seen that you do the Wheel of Fortune stuff.
I do hosting, yeah.
How? I mean, obviously those are completely different monsters, but when you're interacting with the crowd, what do you do? Because your show is very interactive. Right. That's what I love about watching you do your thing.
Thank you, buddy. That's how I like to work.
It's very interactive. I think what's cool about it too is that it's interactive, but it's not gimmicky.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
You're planned, but you're not a hack.
I appreciate that. There's a strategy to it, but I'm not going to... No show is ever the same, which ships like too. They like that as well. So I combine that skill set that you're talking about when I'm hosting too. I never thought... I was thinking about the other day, I have the career of a... famous veteran comedian, because comedians start off and they get to do work with cool places, and then now the trend in game shows is all these well-known comedians host game shows. Well, I'm not well-known, but my career's kind of followed that similar path where I'm hosting game shows and I put a comic spin on it. And what I like as an improviser, because I could just consider myself a comedian, but I used to be I'm an improviser. So I still use that skill base when I'm dealing with audience members. In my own show, that's pretty much all it is. I'll intertwine stand-up in there, but it's mostly improvising. And it's a weird act, too, where I thought about this. I like that it's this way, but I didn't think about it till later, where the audience is the star. I like making the audience comfortable and making them, when I bring people up and work with them, I like making them feel oh, wow, we did something. It's a weird thing because I don't think a lot of stand-ups think that. But I like it when I if I interact with someone or crowd work, whatever, I want to lift them up. I like being hey, aren't they great? And the audience is they're great. Because then you create this cool goodwill where they're oh, wow, that's a different type of show. And I'm great.
Well, I think, especially now with the explosion of social media and a lot of crowd, not necessarily just crowd work comics, but the inclination to get into crowd work, it seems the natural inclination is just to start roasting,
right,
and start jabbing at people, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, it's fine.
But
unless you can't do it, and then it's so awkward. I like it if someone's good at it, and there's comedians like Bobby Slayton. There's all these comedians that made their whole career on it. That's what they do. They know they're gonna go after you. And so you come in and expect it, because I think it's probably this way now, but the audience is kind of taking back the power when they see all these TikTok videos. But it used to be a thing. If you talk to squares, people that don't go to comedy shows a lot, and you go, what's your impression? They go, I don't want to sit near the front. They're going to pick on me. Yeah. And I'm I don't like that, because I wouldn't want to be in the front and have some mediocre comedian be what do you do? And then have them stumble through some horrible hacky insults, and you're oh, this is horrible for everyone.
And that's why I don't do crowd work, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a mediocre comedian that does not like talking to crowds.
I think a secret of it is, if you're good, you can get a weird middle ground where I prefer when the dunks are on you and not the audience member. So you drill, you get some information. Okay, and then what was a red flag when you first met her or whatever? And then I like it, and then you put it. It's also a good way to segue to your own material. But right. I like then to be oh, myself dunk on me rather than be like, oh, you losers. I don't like that.
No, yeah, and I agree. And you're really good at getting people comfortable. Like that one when you were at Safe House, you brought that girl up to like do the singing bit and like she was picking things out. She was clearly nervous as shit, introvert, not really outspoken or outgoing like that. And you just it's like a switch flipped.
Oh yeah, she's great, and I like it. Afterwards, you can see they're relaxed and their whole who they came with is excited. The whole room. I love it when after the show, like the room will come up to these people that I deal with on stage and be like, "Oh, that was great." I love that. I love it so much. I'm like, because then they get a taste of what we get to do all the time. They get a little bit of taste of that to be like, "Oh wow, that's a cool feeling." Because that's what everybody wants, anyways. Social media and all this. Everyone just wants the spotlight for a little bit. So like, great.
I think people like the idea of having the spotlight.
Oh, you're right. That's a good point because when you're at home, protected, making a kitchen video or something, kitchen dancing, like there's no pressure.
Yeah.
But I think we talked about this maybe last time. What's good for people to have comedic skills is then you get hired to sometimes just open up for those people once they have a road act, because then the night is satisfied with actual comedic skills, and then the TikTok person goes up and does their PowerPoint show. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're the ones selling tickets, but you're the one that makes it the show when you're in the open position or feature or whatever. Sometimes they're like, you're going to open, do 20 minutes, because then the room's like, oh, we've seen a show, and then they bring out the TikTok cookie lady who somehow is doing a road show, and then they're like, oh, we love her because she has a billion followers, but whoever that was that opened up, oh, that was like a comedian. Yeah, it's good for us. I don't know I think clubs, if they're smart, know that.
Well, clubs just and I get it, but at the end of the day, all they really care about is who can get asses in seat, who can sell the drinks, who's selling the food if they have food, are we getting any cut of their merch, like who is bringing in business.
Oh yeah.
For better or worse.
Name of the game. Yeah.
But, right, yeah, exactly. And then and it's cool though because I was over at Hyenas. I didn't perform, but I was there this past weekend because AJ De Leon, he was able to do guest spots on William Montgomery's shows. The giant white redheaded dude from Kill Tony. And watching that guy weave in and out of crowd, and he's straight. Have you ever seen his stand up on Kill Tony?
Is he mostly crowd work?
He has one-liner type material, but he just screams the whole time. He just fucking yells the whole, and that was him for 45 minutes.
And it's his fans, right? Yeah. So that's what they want.
They loved it.
It's like Sam Kinison, that kind of thing?
Honestly, kinda.
Yeah. There's a lot of those styles. I have friends that kind of do something close to Sam Kinison. That's cool. I love Sam Kinison.
Yeah, I was pretty close to that. Just watching that and seeing there is, because I'm not that type that just yells all the time. I definitely can't do. That's not really in my. I'm a loud person, but that's not my repertoire, in my personality to do that. But just the fucking fearlessness of saying just crazy, outlandish shit, and these people are. I'm like, oh, okay, so even in Albuquerque, where it is a very liberal blue city, there is an appetite for just horrendous things being said on stage.
And the room felt like that.
Oh, they loved it.
I love Sam Kinison because at one point, both Sam Kinison and Richard Pryor lived in the same town in Illinois, in Peoria, Illinois. They both lived there. Now, Sam Kinison was there with his family in a tent revival. No joke. That's where he came from. That's thus the passion, thus the yelling. No joke. He was a preacher. Yeah.
I would have loved to see that guy preach.
Oh, I bet it was insane. And then Richard Pryor, probably about the same time when Sam was there, Richard Pryor shined shoes at the Marquette Hotel in downtown Peoria. So when I was there, they felt it on me like a dog can smell fear. When I came to the desk, they go, that was his shoe shine station right over there. They knew what I was going to ask. I don't know if I look like a weird comedian or something, but they're like, it was over there. I go, wow, that's amazing.
Who do you take, especially when you're first starting doing stand-up, obviously, we talked in depth about your experiences in the Second City, but who between that and just stand-ups you were watching, who did you take inspiration from?
My favorite comedian of all time is Jonathan Winters.
Right, right.
He's my all-time favorite, still holding steady. And then after that, probably Nichols and May. So these are all improvisers. But then I still will have to catch myself, I'm going on a ship Sunday. And I still have to catch myself because I love David Letterman, and I have to be careful to be like, it's a little Letterman. You're doing a little one time. It's funny though, because the people that you love, when you're in the zone or whatever, you don't really think about it. Like one time, it was not planned at all, but I found myself stalking the stage like Brian Regan. One time, and I go, why am I walking around like his goofy gait? I go, what am I doing right now? It just felt funny to do that in the moment. I wasn't thinking about him, but maybe it seeped into my brain from watching him or whatever. And then I think the greatest comedy special ever is Bring the Pain, Chris Rock. I think that's the greatest ever. Of course, so what do I take away from that? Chris Rock and I couldn't be more different in every possible way. But what I loved was super smart. Smart. Very smart. And every time you see him, he had the Chris Rock show on HBO. He had all these different things. Every time you saw him, it was new and like how comedy should be. Like, whoa, oh, that's really good and surprising. Now, I thought it was recent stuff. Sure, but it's hard, man. It's hard to keep that level. But that's what I took away from him as far as like, oh, the smart's over. How about you?
Oh, man. Well, it's tough because I don't see, I mean, maybe other people see it, but I don't really see I'm still trying to figure out what my voice
That's
is.
good, though. That's good because what I've been thinking a lot about is the best currency in anything, especially entertainment, is originality. You have to do something different because, oh man, social media is reflective of this now on any social media. TikTok, Instagram, whoever's using Facebook. Because here's an example. You know, like everyone did this thing where they make themselves into an action figure.
Yeah.
Like, now you can't hold all those people liable. A lot of them are squares. They're not comedians. They're not artists or anything. But it kind of drives me crazy if a trend comes up on something and then everyone kind of does that kind of trend, and you'll see it kind of seep through in performing too. That drives me nuts because I'm just like, what's the original take? What's the original thing? So originality, it's good that you don't know because that means I think every comedian when they start, they're emulating someone, which I think is part of the rite of passage. You know what I mean? That's just what they do.
Yeah, and I agree. And I'm sure
some of them do the person's material. You hear that all the time of like, I was doing, Rodney Dangerfield's material for a year or something until I got my feet underneath me. And like comedians, of course, would be like, oh, it's just, I'm like, well, I mean, they started out, they're 17 years old. What else are they going to do?
Well, I mean, but I don't know, like you shouldn't be stealing other people's stuff.
No, but I mean, these people are doing it like at camp, or like at a talent show.
Oh,
like
okay.
I always hear these comedians like at summer camp, I would go up and I would do, Rodney Dangerfield for like 20 minutes. And I go, fine, that's fine.
Right. That's a different.
Because you're getting your feet underneath you. You're terrified. It's who you love. And then when you're up there, the best part is you get the hook, you get the drug, and then you're toast.
Yeah, because I find myself, and again, I'm sure other people could see me do stand-up like, oh, that's maybe a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But I grew up, like when I really started like really liking comedy around like into middle school into high school, I was watching a lot of like Bill Burr. I was super into. I was really into Jeff Dunham. I thought those puppets were fucking hilarious.
Yeah, man. The early stuff, his early special. Well, I haven't seen him in a long time. But jalapeno on a stick and all that. Kill City, man.
Yeah, that was hilarious. And so like, it was funny though. I do remember I was trying to write. I'm still trying to figure it out, like what to do with it. But I think the closest I've come to like getting too close to somebody was I was writing a joke because in the 90s. They never did it, obviously, but in the 90s, the U.S. Army was trying to figure out how to make a gay bomb. I don't know if you know about this or not. They tried to make a gay bomb, and the idea is that you would explode it. It was bio-warfare, and you would explode it over your enemy. It would turn them gay. Like, it would make them, like, have, like, homosexual tendencies or some shit like that.
I don't think that's how it works, is it?
Yeah, no. I don't think it is either. Who knows? But yeah, so I was writing that joke out, and then I was like, well, like, gay militaries. Okay, well, I mean, it's not true. I actually recently found out that's not true, but, like, there's a stigma or, like, a stereotype about the Spartans being gay. Okay, well, that's kind of funny. Oh yeah, gay and Spartans like would kill everybody. The Spartans were the shit, and then it came out. But then there's a Rogan bit that's super close to that.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, can't do that. That's parallel thinking turning into joke thievery. Can't do that.
Yeah.
And then I had another bit. I dropped it because I didn't like it very much. But I was writing about how the sun is like simultaneously giving you life and killing you. And I was like, oh, that's a Rogan bit too. Fuck.
Oh, it is?
So,
wow.
yeah, staying away from that. And so maybe there's been some like roadblocks there a little bit where like I'll catch myself either like an open mic or I'll catch myself like writing it. I'm like, oh wait, this is not an original thought. Like I've heard this somewhere. And I would type in, oh, Rogan. Fuck. Okay. I watched most of his stuff. All right, there it is. And so trying to figure like that out. And as far as like mannerisms and all that stuff go, I'm not too sure. I'm at the point right now where I'm like, because my material, I'll get to a point where like if I have something that I think is really good, I'll straight up Google it. Has anybody,
you will?
Yeah, I will. I'll Google like the like keys, phrases, or like right now I'm working on a joke. And I haven't found anybody else who's done it, but I wrote a one-liner that's about necrophilia.
Okay.
It's very playful and very lighthearted about it, but the core of the joke is making fun of necrophilia.
Okay.
So I typed in my things like stand-up blah, 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 stand-up comedy. Nobody touched it. All right, sick.
Right.
Or like I have a joke about Christianity and suicide. And so I'll like type in phrases in.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, nobody touched that. Thank God.
You do that. You really research.
Yeah.
I don't. Maybe I should, but I don't. But yeah, because I don't really worry about that stuff. I mean, you would know if you blatantly, like if I was like, I'm in the driveway, I'm next to you, I love you. I go, oh wait, that's Chris Rock, word for word, Chris Rock. Do you think they can make an empathy bomb? No, I wanted to say to my gay friends, I know that's not how it works. I was being satirical. All my gay friends are way smarter than me.
But yeah, I don't know. It's because like my Mount Rushmore is Chappelle, Louis, Bill Burr, and Anthony Jeselnik.
Did you ever ditch Louis during the controversies?
I mean, just like with every other cancellation thing.
Yeah.
I never jump react to it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm never like, oh, fuck that guy. Okay, wait. Okay, what I'm not reading headlines. Yeah. What actually happened? Is he or she accused? Yeah. Are they convicted? What's the evidence? Is there evidence? Yeah. Is it hearsay? Yeah. Is it, like what's going on here?
I think that's a good way to roll.
Like
I knew about the Louis stuff for a long time before it came out.
Oh, no shit.
Because I forget what the connection was, but one of the women had a connection to the Second City. Something like that. Maybe one of them was from the Second City. I didn't know them directly, but I knew about that story for a long time. I go, oh, geez. And I think like most of us, I don't know if I think I was blindsided by Cosby. Maybe I knew about it. No, I don't think so. But Louis, I knew for sure for a long time. I go, oh, that's kind of weird, but I didn't think anything of it.
Because the Louis thing was he was just jerking it in front of women, right? Right. And so I look at a situation like that, I'm like, do I approve of that? Not at all. No, that's horrible. And I think he got
their consent.
Yeah, no, it's not good. And I think he got his public flogging for what he did. Yeah. And I know that he's coming back on tour and all of that, and
my buddy saw him.
Yeah, and more power to him. Yeah. He's got some derangement in him, and hopefully he figured that out during his public silencing period when he basically was not accepted at all.
Yeah. I don't know how to feel about him, but I'll see his clips. He puts out new clips all the time, and I'm like, God,
the fucker's hilarious. And so I look at that, and I'm like, I hope he doesn't do it again. And
no, you don't want anybody to be put in that situation. Like you always think of like your sister or your mom or something. You're like, what are you doing, man? Don't figure your stuff out. Don't put people in that situation. I see the Halloween posters here. Do you like Friday the 13th as much? Okay, so a buddy of mine, his wife was one of the victims in the first Friday the 13th.
Oh, no shit. Who was she?
I'd have to look up the name. He's going to... I forget it. Of course, she has a name in it or whatever.
I'll put it real quick.
I think she's in a truck or something for part of it, because that's a scene that always comes up. But my buddy is great, too, because he's the host of Temptation Island on Netflix. So he's got like a little famous... famous family.
I haven't seen the show, but I've heard the name.
Let's look this up.
Let's see here.
Because our character has a name. Because we were in a... like this cool store in Chicago that sells what is it called? Ghoulish Mortals. Great
All
story.
right, there you go. There's the cast.
Oh, perfect. Let's see here. Stand by. This is from the first one.
Yeah.
Stand by. She might be down.
Because that's crazy.
I
Like,
think she was Sandy, but I think her name would be Blue here. Let's keep.
that's funny though, because they're actually coming out with a new A24, the film production studio.
Oh, yeah.
They're coming out with a TV series about the mom.
Okay, that's a big thing, isn't it? The
Yeah,
mom?
and I'm very interested to see what they do with that
No, it
because
wasn't
I
Sandy.
kind of like the simplicity, and that's why a lot of those original horror movies were so good, was because it was simple, like Friday the 13th, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street.
What's your favorite? Halloween?
Halloween for sure, because it's simple. Like Halloween is a dude in a mask that for some reason just can't get taken down, and he's knocking off these serial killers or these babysitters. Or like with Friday the 13th, real simple. Mom goes batshit insane because irresponsible camp counselors let her son drown.
Yes.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like, my personal favorite's Halloween, but I think the best of the original horror slasher movies from like really from Psycho to maybe like the mid 80s, for my money, the best one is Texas Chainsaw.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's the most realistic. That's the one where it's like, yeah, you go to the wrong town in the wrong part of the country. You're clearly an outsider.
Yeah.
The townspeople kind of isolate you. You pick up the wrong hitchhiker because you're nice. And then you're in a house with a bunch of cannibals, Cody Dove.
Oh, not good.
Bunch of cannibals.
Okay. She was Annie in Friday the 13th, right?
No shit.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Let's find the cool. Oh, yeah. Isn't that great?
No shit.
So when we go to places like comic book stores or like, what are they called when they sell as much Halloween stuff as comic books? Like,
it's like
called?
a collector store. Like,
collector store.
Yeah.
And he'll be like, or I bring it up. He's of course humble, real about his wife. But I'm like, hey, you know who his wife is? And they're always like, what? Yeah. She got killed off in that movie.
She got killed by Jason's mom.
That's right.
But yeah, like I love looking back at those movies because they're all made for such a low budget. And like I said, they're all simple. Yeah. And what I think what scares me the most about the Texas Chainsaw movie is as that movie unravels, it's like the whole town's in on it.
Oh, yeah.
You can't call the cops.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they really, and it's super underrated, but the remake of that movie that came out in like 2008, I think.
Right.
It was produced by Michael Bay, of all people.
Oh, sure.
But it's got R. Lee Ermey from Full Metal Jacket. He plays the sheriff.
Yeah.
And it's like, that one explored a lot more, but like just the idea that like you have this psycho family that's going to cut you up, push you through a meat processor, eat you for dinner. And then if you manage to get out, and you're in the modern world and you call the cops, well, the sheriff is in on it too. Oh, man, that's and it's all made for, I mean, that one had a bigger budget, obviously, but the original ones, they're all made for like no money. Like Last House on the Left.
Yeah, man. Or Night of the Living Dead, Pittsburgh, PA. Made for nothing. The movie that messed me up the most, I still don't think I could ever watch it again, was I hate in Pet Sematary the girl they keep up in the attic. The one they feed oatmeal. Can't watch it. Messed me up. It's the only thing I think in my life to this day where I look away. I had to look away. It disturbed me.
Yeah.
Because that's like, that could happen.
Right.
I mean, any of it could happen, I suppose. But that, you're just like, oh. Like what was someone in Ohio the other day or something? They're like, they've been locked in their room for 30 years by their mom or something. I'm like, oh. So the poor woman with, I think it's spina bifida or something in the attic, and they're feeding her oatmeal.
Yeah.
Oh, messed me up.
Yeah.
I hate it to this
day. But it's stuff like that. It's like,
never mind that there's people coming to life. Is it animals?
Yeah, it's animals coming to life.
Coming to life out in the yard.
Yeah.
That's fine. We'll worry about that later. Let's get her some real food and some medical attention.
Well, there was this really fucked up story from, I think, like maybe like 10 or 15 years ago, where there was a girl, I believe that she was paralyzed from the neck down. I'm gonna make sure I get this right. Yeah, she was paralyzed from the neck. A friend of mine sent me like this little like 30-minute like true crime podcast about it. I remember listening to it when I was driving to Santa Fe one day. I was like, fuck? So this girl's like maybe 18.
Okay.
Real young. She's paralyzed from the neck down. Her parents want nothing to do with her. They leave her on the couch.
Okay.
For like months on end. It's come to the point now where like her skin, because of the oils that are getting secreted,
Okay.
her skin is like fusing to the couch. She's using the bathroom while she's sitting there, so she's marinating in it.
This is disgusting.
And they're keeping her alive.
But she was able to watch all of the X-Files. There's a lot of episodes. That is a lot of
She
episodes.
watched all of ER twice.
You ever watched the X-Files?
No, I haven't.
I just started it. How late to the party I am. I think it takes place in, it was like made in 1993. It's really bizarre. So there's little things every once in a while, like Payphone was in an episode the other day and stuff.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, man. But it's good. I like that every episode is standalone. Like it's a standalone story, anthology style.
Right, serialized, yeah.
Yeah, but I think the greatest, what it's a ripoff of, is the greatest, which is, it's hard to beat the quality of the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, Twilight Zone. Yeah.
Come on. I mean, X-Files is great because they put the conspiracy theory with every episode. It's like, that's why they're the X-Files. They get all the stuff where they're like, there's nothing to this, you two nerds. Send the nerds in, see what they can figure out. But if you're going to talk about that genre of stuff, of paranormal, like, you're never going to beat the quality of the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Because I haven't seen all the Twilight Zone, but what I love about that show is that there's typically, no matter what episode you're watching, there is a theme in it or an idea or like a social thing.
Yes.
That just continues to resonate.
Satire, whatever. That's why it's good.
Yeah.
It's so good, man. Jonathan Winters does an episode where he's a pool player. He's kind of like Minnesota Fats. It's so good. I think it's his only serious role, too. I'm also watching Justified. You ever seen this show?
Back when it was coming out, with Timothy
good,
Oliphant.
Timothy Oliphant.
Yeah.
Raylan Givens. And it's very hip to mention him right now, but I think Walton Goggins is in it, too.
Yeah.
And Walton Goggins, I think, is a great improviser. If you watch The Righteous Gemstones.
No, but I've heard it's phenomenal.
It's a little crass for my taste. I think it's funny, but some of the stuff I'm like, this is kind of like just dumb crassness, which I mean, I get it. That's why they're getting laughs. But what's more interesting to me is like his character, Baby Billy, is so well done. And you can tell as a performer that he's improvising, and they want him to do that. And when he does that, you can tell it's probably maybe it's all scripted. I doubt it. But you can tell it's probably better than what they gave him to start with. But yeah, for my taste, sometimes it's a little crass where I'm like, all right. Like they have to show like frontal nudity all the time. And I'm like,
That's HBO right there.
I go, we've seen this stuff forever, man.
Hey, I've seen enough dicks, thank you.
Yeah, like in movies or stuff. Like the first comic thing, I don't know what it would have been, American Pie or something. You're like, oh, crazy. Now you see, you're like, jeez.
It's probably Animal House, now that I think about it.
Maybe so.
Maybe. But
is what's his name when he jumps out of the trunk in The Hangover? I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it is funny because you're still shocked, but for me, I'm like, I'm much more like the characters in the interesting human behavior more than just silly crassness.
Why do you think there hasn't been, because stand-up is bigger now, I think, than it's ever been.
Yeah, I would say.
Why do you think there hasn't been a resurgence of comedy movies?
Oh, that's a good question. Because it's different gatekeepers. Like the studio heads and the gatekeepers, it's all numbers. So I don't know when the last, Minecraft, does that count as a comedy movie?
No, that's a video game.
I don't know what the big, huge last comedy movie was. Girls Trip or something? I don't know.
Probably Bridesmaids?
Maybe, yeah. But they look at those numbers and then they look at because there's a million of those movies that come out. Not anymore. Yeah. But like there's probably, that's a genre where they still release stuff. I don't know what it is. I don't know. You could explore and be like, is part of it where like the political correctness of everything was like, there's a lot of stuff we can't do right now. So it makes a very narrow window for things. But then again, like a lot of, Spade's got a movie. Busboys is coming to Netflix.
Yeah.
Everything's just kind of going to Netflix now. So it doesn't have the same impact when it's a Hollywood blockbuster.
Right.
When it's in a theater, like those days of like...
Well,
big stuff.
Well, Bridesmaids was huge when it came out. The first Hangover was huge. Tropic Thunder, Step Brothers, Talladega Nights, like those.
Oh, that's a very funny movie.
And then like the whole like Judd Apatow slew of movies.
Superbad.
Yeah, so I don't think he did Superbad. I think that was Seth Rogen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
well, that was Seth Rogen produced it. I know. I forget who directed it, but like Knocked Up, 40-Year-Old Virgin. One of my favorite movies of all time, to be honest with you. One of my favorite comedy movies is Funny People with Adam Sandler and Seth Rogen.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Crazy good movie.
Love it.
2.5 hours of just like melodramatic.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Cancer.
And it's a timeline to a movie called Punchline, which was also about comedians.
I started watching that a couple nights ago, but I started it way too late and I fell asleep. Yeah, it was Tom Hanks and not Sally Field. I forget who.
Yeah, it's
but I've heard good things about that too.
Yeah, it's great. There's all those like, and then of course going back, it's darker, but King of Comedy.
That's a great movie.
All these great movies about comedy.
Yeah.
But you're right. I don't know why there's not. Maybe there's stuff in the pipeline right now, but a lot of stuff is just going to Netflix or Amazon or whatever. It's not going like wide.
Have you met anybody like Rupert Pupkin?
I've met a lot of psychos, man. I've met a lot of weird fans and a lot of weird. That's what I'm preparing for because I'll leave. When I leave Sunday, I'll probably be gone the rest of the year. It won't be all ship, but it'll be a lot of ship. And what's interesting about ships is when you're out there, you're trapped with the audience. I mean, it's great. Don't get me wrong. I love coming back to New Mexico and they're like, "We got a hot show tonight." I'm like, "Oh, yeah." They go, "Yeah, 12 people in the audience." I'm like, "Oh, wow, all right." Because on a ship, it's like 1,000 people.
Hey, I'll tell you what, at Safe House Distillery, we had a hot 40, thank you.
Hey, 40?
We had 40 people.
Anything over 35.
There we go.
But on a ship, it's like 1,000 people a show when you're in the big room, which is great. But then you're trapped with these people. You always want to see where the schedule is. If you're a second night of the cruise, you got like, 4 more nights with these people? And then they're like, "Hey!" You get a weird taste. I had it when I did Small Town. Well, in a city, I guess. It wasn't a small town. But when I did, when I worked for CBS, I got a little taste of it too, like micro fame. But on a ship, it's real micro fame. Because you're trapped with them and they're like, "Hey!" And they never know. Remember your name. "Hey, comedian!" That's what they say. And they never want a picture unless you're hungover eating at the breakfast buffet. And then that's when everybody wants the sweaty photo. And you're like, "Okay." And because you're trapped with them, you'd be like, "Yep, sounds good." They're like, "Hey, Billy, take the comedian's pancake." Please don't touch my plate. And then you got to take a photo with them. But I love it. That's another thing that on ships, you definitely have to be a people person. Because if you're one of those comedians, it's like, "I just perform. I don't deal with the audience." I'm like, "You're not gonna, ships ain't going to work for you, man. You live amongst them. You're in line with them." Sometimes they ask you stuff you don't know. They're like, "Can you give me an upgrade?" I'm like, "What?" Go, "Do you want to see where my room is?"
Because I live 2 doors down from you, bud.
No. My room steward's a dolphin. You know how far down? My cabin is? They're rowing next to my cabin. "No, I can't get you an upgrade. Turn around. Can I get a roll?"
That's funny. What's kept you doing? I mean, obviously it's a necessity to work and all that, but what do you... is it just like you found your thing? Does it sharpen the iron? What keeps you going about?
I've been thinking about that a lot. Well, here's the thing. I say, I was saying you're obsessed early on. I was realizing on the drive over, I think I'm just still obsessed with performing. Because like I said, I'll leave Sunday, very likely gone rest of the year, maybe minus a week. And that week I come home, do laundry, then I get in a tour bus. So I go from tiny cabin to bunk on a bus across America, 40 states. So
what are you touring with?
The Sacrifices, that's a game show gig.
Oh, nice.
So the Sacrifice, which is great, because I never thought I would do that. But then the next thing I know, these game shows, there's 3,000 people. And sometimes it's an arena. So again, like I said, comedians that are well known, I'm having that experience, but nobody knows who I am. So I'm like, take the money, save the money like a squirrel. But I think I'm obsessed because why do I keep doing it? Because I love it more than anything. For me, you get paid on ships to be there. Because the show I do the show for free. I love it so much. I love the shows. I love whether it's me doing stand up in a club or whether it's me hosting. Because a game show, it's like a massive budget behind this. The all the set pieces, and I have 2 models that I work with, and they're like, "These are your models." I go, "Hey, how's it going?" But here's the catch:
contract?
when
Oh,
I get
shit.
on the ship, like they have all these production shows, dancers, singers, right, and models. And then they look at me like I'm Snuffleupagus. I'm like, hey, we going to the beach? Like, no, Snuffy, you're not going to the beach with us. You're not. You're going to stay in your little cabin. So starting Sunday, I can't wait to get turned down in over 20 languages. No, but why do I keep doing it? Because I love it. Because the sacrifice is when you're gone that long, personal life, bye-bye. No personal life. I would really like to be in a great relationship. Really nice lady right now. I would love that. But like I said, I leave Sunday, probably gone.
Yeah.
Rest of the year. Literally till Christmas Eve. That's when I would be like off. So I'd come home, I'd have to buy presents on the road and stuff them in my bunk. Get home, wrap them up. There you go. Brawny. So draw on there. Draw Christmas leaf. Yeah, so I think I'm obsessed. That's what it is. But I say this to comedians all the time. I don't know how they feel about it. They always make a face. But being good on ships, all it gets you is more ships. Now, what's great is it's a great living. I know guys, that's all they do. And, there's a wreckage of relationships behind them. And some have great girlfriends and wives that come on, boyfriends, whatever, come on. And they'll do like sometimes they'll average like a cruise a month. So that's a great thing for a spouse, too, to be like, what do you do? Well, last year I did 12 cruises, 1 Baltic Sea, 5 Caribbean, 1 Alaska. So it's a cool life. But as far as advancing a career, you're trapped in amber out there. It's not like there's no scouts ever on a ship. Well, I should say this. The only exception was they saw me on a ship and they go, do you want to do a land tour, this big production of like 75 cities of a game show tour? And I go, yeah, absolutely. So there's an exception to that. But on a ship, you're doing it because a lot of guys, because I have friends that are out there, they have HBO specials, have been on Fallon 8 times, and they do ships all the time. It's not always on their resume or their website because they just go out there, make money. And get out of there.
Yeah.
But ships don't get you. You're not going to get a movie deal or a special out of ships. But you get a lot of reps. I love it because you do a lot of reps. You can take a lot of chances. You still got to, do a good job because it's a contract. It's real money. But you can take chances. I do a lot of of the day stuff. That's what I like because your audience all had a similar day. So if you're in Belize and then the swim, there's some crazy fist fight at the swim up bar. Then that night I'm like, what's going on in Belize? And they're like, yeah. So not low hanging fruit, but lowish.
Hey, you know what? Whatever works for you. That's just, I was thinking that's such an interesting way to make the career.
Yeah.
And you get to, I don't know, you just get to, like you were saying earlier, you get to travel the world.
Yeah, I've been lucky just from, not all ships, Second City stuff too. I think 40 countries, all 50 states, 9 Canadian provinces, missing 1.
Anywhere you traveled to for vacation?
Anywhere I go for vacation?
Anywhere out of the places that you've been? Is there anything that stuck out to you where it's yeah, I'd visit back?
Oh, yeah, lots. I love Ireland, of course. You would love it. I tell everyone would love
stopped
Ireland. It's the best.
When we were going overseas to Africa. When we were getting deployed, we stopped in Ireland for 5 hours, if that.
Yeah.
And we were just, obviously they were like, you don't leave the airport.
Oh, wow.
You stay in the airport. You're not going to let a bunch of infantry guys out.
You'll never come back.
Yeah, you'll never come back.
You'll be in Temple Bar District.
Yeah.
Face down.
But I remember looking outside because it was around probably 7 in the morning. So the sun was just rising. And I remember looking out of one of these big windows they had next to our terminal.
Yeah.
And it looked remember the old school Windows 95 screensaver where it was the green field and the blue. That's exactly what it looked like. Whoa.
What's crazy, I shot a movie there in out in the country, and we shot in Dublin too, but they have thatched roofs there. Real thatched roof. A thatched roof is if you see a picture of what you assume a cottage looked like in, I don't know, 16th century, 17th century or
Right.
something. That's what it is. It's literally thatched. I don't know what the material is, some kind of weed material they thatch. And then they still, what I thought was amazing was in the country, they still do peat fires too, like peat moss fires. It's amazing. A peat fire. It's amazing. I love it. So there I like, and then I've lived a very spoiled life because the run I'm about to do, it's the same run. It's the same 7-day run the whole time I'm there. And it's like St. Thomas, Tortola, which is a British Virgin Island, Dominican Republic, and somewhere else. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to save every single dime because I've already been to these places literally 100 times. I've been to St. Thomas probably 200 times in my life. There's people like, St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, amazing. Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, I'll probably go to Wendy's.
Yeah, I've been down the street, dude.
Exactly. I mean, I've done all the things you can do in these places. It's not like because what drives me crazy is comedians that are new out there, like, they don't do anything. They're like, I'm not getting off the ship. I'm like, are you crazy? Go to the beach, man. It's like, you'll never see these places again. So I've done all you can do in these places. So that's why I'll just save money.
Yeah, no, smart.
But you're right. It is interesting because once you've done it, like, it's great. And it's not easy to get in, but it's kind of like a cult. Once you're in there, like, you can work a lot and work for different lines. I've developed shows for different cruise lines and stuff. But yeah, there's no scouts there. They're not like, hey, you want to have a drink after the show and talk about your next moves? That's not happening.
When you're, 'cause I think about this sometimes about your set where, because obviously it makes perfect sense, like with your improv background, like I'd just imagine that when you're creating a set, like for people who are just doing strictly just the material-based stand-up show, it's like, oh, what do I think is funny? What are the things that happen in my life? What's on the news right now? What's the headline that I saw? An instance that I had? Oh, what's funny about that? And they figure that out. But for you, it's like you're creating it is a one-man show,
right,
but it's an interactive one-man show.
Right.
So are you thinking about like scenarios to put an audience member in, a scenario to put yourself in? Like, how are you, without giving away the beans of your material, obviously, but like, how do you go about writing that kind of material? Because it's like you're creating a sketch.
Yeah, it is. My goal, if I'm doing it right, is I'm shifting on the fly a little bit, but if I'm doing it right, it's like my thing is like 80% improvised in the moment. Because then when you're really improvising, it's much more magical than doing what you know will work. Now, you also have the fun burden of when you're paid money to do these things, you got to have a satisfying show.
Yeah.
So I'll do things that I know will work, whether I call them structures, where I'm like, okay, this structure is an audience member. I'll ask them to do this, and they'll help me in this way or whatever. What I'm going to do on the ship, so when I get off the ship, it'll be like muscle memory, is I'm going to improvise a song about an audience member, like in every show I do. So when I'm done with it, I've done this before, but I'm rusty. So I'm going to do that the entire time I'm out there. So when I step off the ship, that'll be in my land show too. So I can be like, thank you, ship. Because it's fine. Once you're out there and then like the little ship manager watches your show like once the whole time you're out there, you're like, all right, Debbie's gone. Sweet. Then you just do what you want. I mean, there's strictures. You're not going to do religion. You're not going to do politics. There's a thing.
Really? I think you mentioned that last time, but like, is that in the contract?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's to their advantage, too. I've had contracts where it goes, no adult material. And then I step on the show and they go, okay, you got 4 adult shows. We like them super dirty. Now, the reason they do that is if you hang yourself with the leash they gave you, they can be like, we told him. He's out of it. He's leaving tomorrow in Bermuda. That's what they do, too. Like, they're like, you're going home. Be like, wait, home? Tomorrow's Bangkok. They go, yeah, you're going home tomorrow.
No shit.
You find your own flight home. You're like, what? I've seen it happen. I've seen them like let a ventriloquist off in Bermuda. They're like, sorry, the duck. That's vulgar. That was the duck material. So what I
Well, what's the rationale behind that? Is it because they want to make it like family shows?
Oh, I'm talking about a weird wrinkle in it too. The thing is, you have to keep in mind too. On land, people go, ooh, sweet, $35 ticket. I'm going to see some stand-up on Friday. Let's go. Who's the comedian? Joey Evans. Oh, my God. I love Joey Evans. Saw him on Kimmel. We're going. So they paid the money. They want to have fun. Boom. On a ship, they do this. All right. Let's look at the program, the daily schedule. Oh, comedy at 7. Have you ever seen live comedy? No. Have you? No. We should go. So what's fun about that is in the middle of your show, they have dinner. Like your show starts at 7:30, and you go to like 8:20 or whatever. They have dinner reservations at 8. So like 7:50, they just stand up. They just leave. So it's kind of like when you're an improviser, you learn early on to not be afraid of the bomb, not be afraid of failing. Ships teach you like to not be fazed by anything.
By anybody walking out or like,
or drunk people fighting in the middle of your set. I mean, that could happen anywhere. But on ships, they have these unlimited drink packages where they go, listen. And these people try to break even, right? They're like, it's an unlimited drink package for $300. Drink all you want, all cruise. Oh. And then those are usually people that like comedy. So some shows you just babysit. You're like, don't touch that. Sit down. Okay, let's get back to the show. Please, no, you can't sit over. You separate. My favorite thing I saw once on a ship was my first contract ever. There was this couple, and they're like, been drinking a little bit. And he's got his hands on her ass, and they're like really slow slurving on the dance floor. And I was like, all right. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, this guy beelines between them, separates them, and then punches the guy. And then to the girl he goes, I'll kill you. We're all like, ah. So later, I knew they had a security. I go, what was going on last night at this dance club? And he goes, oh, okay. Well, the woman dancing on the dance floor before they were separated had just got married to the guy that separated them. They were on their honeymoon. And she was I don't know if they were hooking up with this other dude or whatever, but yeah. That was my first. So, and I've seen everything possibly. All human behavior is revealed on cruise ships. But that was my first contract ever, and I was like, wow! I've seen everything possible. It's insane.
Well, cruise ships, like, as a concept, just blows my mind. It's like, hey, we're going to take a sometimes specific subsect of human beings because they clearly just don't know what to do with their money, and we're going to put them on a ship in the middle of nowhere and just let them go. It's like the weirdest. You would think aliens put that together. Where they're like, hey, we're going to put a
bunch of humans
in
here.
a giant metal thing that floats.
Trapped.
Just see what happens.
Yeah.
Just tell them that if they pay $500, they get all the food and booze. We're going to slip magnums under their pillows and just let them do whatever the fuck they want.
That's why I work like luxury ships. There are ships you don't want to work. I work the good because I learned early on. I go, let's work the good ones forever.
You're not going on the, what's it called, the carnival ones?
No, a lot of stand-ups work out there. I'd do stand-up out there. I'm a free agent. But that's the punchline of a lot of ship jokes is because you always see in the news.
Right.
You know what I mean? One time I had a great joke for a season. It was a little while back. But a carnival ship in Miami when we were in port backed into another carnival ship. Oh. I thought it was so funny. So for like, I don't know, 6 months I had a great joke where I opened. I go, did you see what happened to Carnival? Everyone laughs, right? Just based on the setup. And I go, come on, man. You got to get it together. I go, my Ford Fiesta has a backup camera. Everyone, like,
well, the ship crashing videos are the crazy ones. It's like it's not happening. Like sometimes they happen fast, but a lot of times it's just like,
oh yeah, it's nuts. They're moving
like slow.
They're moving cities because comics will sometimes be like, "What's it like to be on there?" I go, "All right, think of your favorite mall." Or a mall. I don't know if you have a favorite mall.
Think of a mall.
A mall. Now imagine you lived inside the mall without leaving for 4 months, and they're like, "What?" I go,
yeah, it's Dawn of the Dead with more booze.
I did this, and it goes. I learned human behavior is you can get sick of anything. I created this show for this luxury company, and what's great about their thing was it's high end, and all the passengers once you paid for your cruise, a lot of cruise lines like upcharge right for the nice restaurants. This was all included. So I'm sitting there, nice glass of wine, eating filet mignon. It just had bone. I love bone marrow appetizer, right? A carnivore meal.
Cody Dove, living like a king.
And I had this meal probably 40 times in a month, and I was like, it just goes to show you, it's like human behavior. I was like, nah, shrimp again. I never thought I'd say that in my life. I'm like, so it's a great life.
Yeah, after you leave tonight, I'm going to eat my frozen pizza over my sink, by
dude,
the way.
on land, I operate totally different. But on ship, I'm like, yeah, let's get another bone marrow for the table. Give me some more of those snow crab legs. So, yeah, it's great. But like I said, I've done it for a long, not continuously, but for a long time. So sometimes, I don't really believe in regret. But if I think about it, I'm like, well, what if I had stayed in L.A.? Because there's nothing you can do. Regret's great if you just want to beat yourself up. Like, what's the point of regret? Now, you should learn from lessons, hopefully more recent lessons, and that should guide your behavior. But regret, it's like drinking poison and wanting history to change. Like, if I drink this poison, maybe history will change. No, it's already happened. You can't have regret. Because you also learn in everything. Like, whatever you have regret about, a relationship or career or whatever, you learn something, even if it was horrible and you made weird choices. Like, oh, I did learn that I don't want to be in that situation again. Or I learned that, like, I don't want to do county fairs or whatever weird career thing. You're like, I'm going to do a summer of county fairs. I did something similar to that once, and I go, not for me.
What part of the country?
Midwest, summer. I remember I performed in a rabbit barn one time as part of this comedy troupe.
I was like,
I can't do this. Because it's like we were wearing suits was our look, and I'm sweating through my suit. It's like 40 people. Ugh. This is luckily early days of the career. But like I said, like it's difficult just to get to the point where you work on ships regularly. Now, you shouldn't get comfortable and be like, all right, haha, made it. A lot of guys do. A lot of guys do it forever, and that's great. Great people. And they have a really good life. But like I've always been too ambitious, so I'm always like, all right, because I made a little pact for a while. I go, no ships for a while. And then I got me more TV acting work, and I go, it's kind of a good move. But then, especially in a market like Albuquerque, you get like 6 good auditions a year, as opposed to all those weeks you could have been in Bermuda just saving all your money and being like on the beach with models who think you're a mastodon, like a Muppet. Cody, we get us more towels? You got it. They don't ask for. They don't want you to put suntan lotion on early. Could you get more towels? That'll get rid of them for a good 40 minutes.
That's funny. Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of and mushrooms played a big part of that. I know we talked about that in the last one, but mushrooms played a big part in because I wouldn't say that I have regret about anything, but I have learned a lot of lessons the hard way. And I think the way you put it was perfect. It was like you're drinking poison in the hopes that history will change.
Yeah. It's like when you are jealous of someone or spiteful towards someone, they're just going on with their life.
Right.
They're not thinking about you. Like every girl it takes me forever to get over relationships. It just kills me, man. I'm barely getting over one that ended like 4 months ago. I think the ship will cure me just because I'll be gone and I'll be working every day. And I'm like, all right. Because when you're sitting here like waiting for the contract to start, you're thinking about that or whatever. But it really is like being spiteful about another person. Really, it's not my saying. I forget who said it. Someone famous said it. It's like drinking poison and waiting for that person to die. Yeah. You're drinking the poison, like, this will do it. This will really show them in there. And meanwhile, they're getting ice cream. They're out at the park with their dog. They don't give a shit about you. They're not going to think about you. But meanwhile, they're like, oh, I hope they're tore up. Odds are they're not.
Yeah, that's because regret, I think, is it's an ugly version of, or an ugly way to process negative emotion.
Yeah, I think it's better. And, we live in a golden age. You talk about golden age of comedy. We also live in a golden age of free, like, self-help or self-growth. Like, everywhere you look, it's like, remember, be kind. Or it's like, remember. Now, but there is a lot of core truths to it. And I think one of those is it's easy to say. It's not as easy to always implement, which is like every hard moment, there's a lesson in there. But sometimes it messes you up, man. It's hard to be like, thank you for this lesson. She's like, all your stuff's on the lawn. Yeah. Thank you, God, for this lesson.
Yeah, thanks for the character development.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
But there is, if you look back, it's better to look at like that, to be like, yeah, that was a good lesson. All right, moving on. I think career-wise, too, it's good sometimes to be a shark. Like, you don't want to be totally detached from human emotion or stuff like that. But it's good to be like, all right, what's the next thing? Okay, good. Well, that didn't work out. you want to do people right, and you want to be like, well, this is not like. It's always a good sign of maturity when relationships where you go, this isn't a match, and that's how you feel. You're not like, what a psycho. I can't believe I got involved with that. I'm an idiot. Nothing against you. Nothing against that person. You just go, oh, that was not a match at all. It's tough to get there. Yeah. But that's where I am still. I'm like,
well, because you'll run into crazy. Because a lot of times crazy is real pretty.
Plus, we're also performers, man, so we're crazy too. Because we're like, you're crazy. You're like, San Diego? Sleep in my truck?
Well, if I go to San Diego, I was sleeping with my grandmother at that point.
Okay,
I'll be at my grandma's house.
A little less crazy.
Yeah, I'll be there. But
but you know what I mean?
If I go to Plano, Texas, I'll sleep in the truck. That's cool.
You just have to make sure your crazy matches up with another crazy. But I have you. There's a point there too. Sometimes the pretty ones are the crazy.
Yeah, but sometimes crazy is real dressed, real nice.
Yeah. And then I say that knowing I'm nuts too. Because like I say, I'm about to go live on a floating mall. Like, I want this, I hope for 4 months or so. That's what I'm asking for. I'm like, can I stay longer?
Well, you have to be though. Like, I was thinking about this. I was doing a podcast. I've thought about this for a while, but I was doing a podcast a few weeks ago. Real nice girl that was on, and we were talking about stand up a little bit because stand up was alien to her.
Okay. What does she do? She's a nurse or something?
No.
Doctor?
She does some like social media stuff and like I forget
unemployed.
I forget. I forget what her day job is. But
I'm like doctor, scientist,
Yeah.
works in Los Alamos. No, social. She runs a social media account about pugs.
But it is when you really break down what it is to do stand up or just do entertainment in general. You have to be fucking crazy. You have to be delusional, and then that's why When I tell those people that are running the club, I was like, yeah, no, I will 100% because I find myself in a very unique, and I'm very thankful for it, but a very unique situation where I'm like, my day job pays for my bills.
That's great.
It pays for my whatever, and
keep that going.
That's my priority. Like stand up is a priority.
Yeah,
podcasting is a priority.
Yeah,
but I understand. Excuse me. I understand wholeheartedly that if my day job goes away, all of this disappears.
Sure.
That. It disappears. So as long as I maintain that, I'm able to do everything else. But I'm at a point where I don't really give a shit if I'm paid to do stand-up.
See, that's a good place to be.
I really don't give it.
So all your eggs are not in one basket.
No.
Now, is your goal, like every delusional comic,
yes,
to have all your eggs in one basket? I say that's a great life.
Yeah.
Now, sure, we say it's crazy and delusional. You have to be delusional to think that 1,000 people want to hear what you have to say.
Hey, that's exactly what I was going to say.
But there's some health to it too. Once you do that enough, you're like, they kind of like what I'm saying.
But even removed from that, like before you even get to the point where you think that people want to hear what you have to say, you have to be good enough to justify getting in that position.
Oh, right.
You have to, because I think it's, and it shows you how privileged it is to be in America, but it was back in like 2021, 22, where the number one fear of Americans
public speaking.
is public speaking.
I think it probably still is, which is funny because that rubs against social media. But like we said earlier, it's easy in your bathroom to be like, I'm going to sing to Lizzo, and then I'll put some filters on it and I'll throw it out there, and my 5 friends at work will like it or whatever.
Exactly.
Which is different to be like, please welcome, your headliner. And then you go out there and they're just like, yeah! Right. And what I love, I think we talked about it too, this is a famous passage from the documentary Comedian. But even if you're Dave Chappelle, the audience gives you about 5-6 minutes on your name, maybe 8 if it's Chappelle, maybe 10. But after that, you still got to be good. That's what I love about it.
Yeah.
Comedy, and it's another thing that Seinfeld, I think he said that in that special, and something he says all the time too is, you don't have to tell people who you think is bad at comedy. You don't even have to share that opinion. The ecosystem will weed them out.
Will it?
It's way too difficult. Oh yeah, a local market like this, they can limp along for decades. It's fine. But if you know what I mean, they can. They can. But if they're like, I'm gonna have a Netflix special.
You just pissed off a couple people, Cody Dove.
No, I didn't say anybody. But you know what I mean? There's all hobbyists. They can limp along for decades, and you're like, good for you. And they get a lot out of it. Who am I to say? That's great. But if they were to be like, I'm gonna get serious, and I'm gonna do an hour, or I'm gonna try to film a special or something. Then they'll learn. They'll learn. They'll learn here. They'll especially learn other places, but they'll learn. But yeah, I mean, I'm fine. All open mics are horrible. So when you go, you just have to be like, oh, okay, these people, they're going to do the same thing for decades.
I got to be honest. Like, aside from just the crazy work that you do on shows, and feel free to have more if you like, but
it's great. Thank you, buddy.
Just the respect that I have for you, that with the skill that you have, and you still put yourself through open mics. My
You know why? That's what we talked about. You have it too, is the obsession with it. But sometimes I put too much into open mics. Like I'll be like, I got a real show coming up, so I'll go to 2 open mics. And if they're horrible, mentally, that's not good for you going into your real show. Because then you're like, can I still do this? I hear like huge comedians say this all the time. Like huge names be like, they have a weird show, or like none of these people go to open mics anymore. But they'll be like, oh, it's so mercurial and so weird.
Well, I have this theory.
It's the biggest tightrope act always.
Thank you for saying that, because I have this theory, and I wonder if you agree with me or not. Because I'm not a big like aura or energy or like this weird like, you know, spiritual woo woo stuff. Right, you know what I mean? But I really do think that there is a invisible plane of existence that we can't see, but we're all connected through. And I think
I agree. I agree completely. I don't think it's woo woo at all.
When I think that in that plane of existence, and it's, you know, maybe it's how you explain partially why people form relationships, you know, whether it's business, personal, friendship, romantic, whatever, but I think there's this weird plane of existence that we exist on. And then when it comes to stuff like performing arts, entertainment, whatever it is, I think there's this weird osmosis that happens where if you're around, obviously now, granted, you have to have the foundation of being good at the thing, right? You can't just walk into a comedy club, sit there and filter feed for 3 weeks and you're like, I'm a great comedian. But you have to have that base, not just the interest in it, but like you've put time in, you have a varying skill level, you have whatever it is, you have an understanding of the art form. But I really do think this, and obviously I'm biased towards stand-up because that's where I've been spending my time. But if you spend enough time around quality comedy, there's this weird osmosis thing that happens that like sets off the right receptors in your brain where you're like, oh, that's how you do that. Oh, right. But then the inverse of when you're just around dog shit all day long for weeks and weeks, and it's just like, fuck, what's going on? Is anything funny? Like, and then it starts, because I felt it where it's like, if I'm just around fucking bad comedy, now granted, I have a long way to go, but I know that I'm serviceable. I know that I can be serviceable. Okay. You know what I mean? Sure. But if I'm just having like a losing streak, and then just I go to open mics to try to repair it.
Open mics are the worst.
And then I go back on it, I'm just like, what is going
Well,
on?
we talked about it too, the psychology of open mics. Like, I appreciate the people that run them. I'm very grateful for them, and I'm grateful for open mics. But the reason they are horrible is because no one has paid to see comedy. You're interrupting an alcoholic's evening. It is. It's like if you were at the free clinic and a dance recital broke out. You'd be like, what is happening right now? Is this a dance recital?
You have chlamydia.
Yeah, it's like
you have AIDS.
This is not what we're here for. And you can tell open mics are horrible because name all the open mics. Or you don't have to name them, but think of all the open mics you've done where above your head is the NBA playoffs. They're not built. It's not a show. It's a horribly produced.
I was at Brew Lab on Friday. They had reruns of football playing. I was like, look at my joke about a racist Batman joke, and look at my joke about necrophilia and about having sex with an Apple Watch on. Look at my jokes.
I guess you could, not your jokes, but you could look at it as 2 ways. Like, maybe it's a fail-safe, so the audience can be like, well, like, at least I can watch this while I suffer through this one. But no one's invested in it except the comedians, and that's why it's horrible. And the comedians aren't going to laugh at the other comedians because in their weird brains, they think it's a contest where someone's going to win open mic, which always kills me.
Do you think that's what it is?
I think that's part of it. Well, if it's young comedians, they're terrified about doing whatever they're about to do. So they're like,
Yeah, I was gonna say for me, like I'm at an open mic. Like, yeah, there's a select, and you're one of them, but there's a select amount of comics in the city where if I go to an open mic and I see you, at a bare minimum, I'll go say hi.
oh, of course.
You know what I mean? I'll go say hi.
Yeah.
I will. No, I'll say. It's not even just saying hi. It's like I'll say hi, and then there's a select few that I'll sit down and have a conversation.
Yeah,
with.
of course. Yeah.
But for the most part, I'll go to an open mic. Like I love sitting with you. I love sitting with Trip.
Yeah.
I love Jake Otero to death. But if I sit down with Jake Otero, it happened Monday night. If I sit down with Jake Otero, we will talk, and we will talk,
Right.
and we will chat, and we'll discuss nothing about material because we're friends.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's like, we won't sit down and write. You know what I mean? But I love sitting down with like you. I love sitting down with Trip. It's like, okay, I know, maybe it's an insecurity thing, but I know that if I sit down and I write, they're not going to think I'm ignoring them.
No.
They know that I'm sitting
Yeah.
down to prepare and get my shit together. And
When I go in, I'll sit with anybody. I like everybody, but it's also what you were saying earlier, that I really believe we're all connected. Comedians, not comedians. I think all of us as humans, we're all connected, which is why racism stuff like it makes no sense. It's the dumbest thing. A war, of course. This is I don't get it, man. Because we are literally from the same material. All of us, no matter what we look like, whatever this form thing is, what we have to carry around. So, like, I like that in an open mic, we're all connected to the other comics. And I like in shows too, you're connected to the other performers, you're connected to the audience. At the end of the day, that's what it is with performing comedy. It is connection.
That's one of my favorite parts of going to a show is like with our like buddies with them or just like comedy friends, whatever. I love going to shows and being with the other comics, and there's this underlying tone of like, all right, let's not fuck up tonight. Let's not fuck this up. Let's do well. Hope this goes well.
Yeah.
Oh shit, because like, and I was having this conversation. This came up a little bit last night with Buck too. I was like, in a different context, but I've been thinking a lot about like how to improve Albuquerque comedy. What does Albuquerque comedy need to improve? What's holding us back? That kind of thing. And it's just interesting because a lot of the comics right now in Albuquerque are under 6 years. A lot of them.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
There's very few that are above 10. Like there's this huge deficit where you're either like 6 years and under.
Yeah.
Or over 10. And there's very few that I think the only people at like, not even just at a high level, but are just in the scene right now that are above 6 but under 10. I think it's just like Zach, Josh.
Couple in there, yeah.
You know what I mean?
But you know what I say to the people
else.
under 6? I'm like, give yourself a break. Sometimes, they get frustrated or they have a bad show or something like, this takes forever to get.
That's where I'm at right now.
It takes forever. So let it take forever. I mean,
but I don't want it to, Cody.
Well, I know nobody does.
I want to be good now.
Everybody wants to be great now. But it takes the reps, man. The 30,000, 10,000 hours, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It takes a long time. Because that's the difference too. If you go to an open mic and you watch somebody that's only been doing it a few years, I think what's interesting is the material. A lot of it's really serviceable or may be there, but there's almost an intangible thing of stage confidence that doesn't exist. So their stuff is undersold in some way. Whether it's the crackle coming off you, and the audience knows when you got a little crackle coming off you, or if you're just like, all right, when I move, I'm kind of, and I do my things, and I saw a comedian do this, so I'll stop and do what I saw a comedian do, as opposed to they know someone that's like, oh, this person's been doing it a long time. That doesn't mean a person that's been doing it forever is any good either. But yeah, the people that have not been doing that long, like, relax, give yourself some time, give yourself some space, don't sweat it, enjoy it. And the people that have been doing it a long time, it's the other challenge is like, sit near the new people and keep that fire alive. Because like Bob Odenkirk talks about it, where like you have to have the love you had when you got started. That's what carries you through. And I struggle with that sometimes. Where I'm grateful, like probably Wednesday night, a week from now, I'll be backstage. It'll be like an excited audience of 1,000 people. I won't be nervous. I'll be a little nervous because it's my first time on. It's a brand new ship. And so it's weird then because everything's precious. But for a long time, I would not be nervous at all, which I don't think is a good thing either. I think you want a little bit of a balance.
It shows that you care.
Yeah,
it shows that you're there.
That's fine. It shows that you care, but I think you want a little spark when you're out there that you're there and ready to go. Like one time I was on this tour and I did 520 shows in 8 months. So backstage,
can I just do the math on that?
It's
really
insane.
Quick? So
like,
how many months?
I don't know. Sometimes 18 shows a week or something. It was insane.
So 5 months.
5 months.
Generally
no, I'm sorry.
speaking-
8 months, 520 shows.
Okay, so 8 months. That means that you have 240 days, and 240 days. And how many shows?
I did 520 shows over 8 months, whatever that is.
That is
What's the average?
That is at least 2 shows a day.
Oh yeah. Many times there were 4.
And some people, I think like people have this misconception about stand-up, where it's like, oh, you're only on stage for like, let's say an hour, like 30 minutes.
Right.
What, an hour of work a day? Are you stressed about an hour of work? No, motherfucker.
You know how many hours went into the 20 minutes you see me?
See, and that's what bugs me too. That's a great point, because that's what bugs me is like, after I did Casadas, because I did Casadas last year, the weekend after the first weekend after the election.
Okay.
So that was like the last weekend, because like maybe out of my 10 to 12 minutes that I had, about 5 minutes of that, give or take, was election material and like political material, because that's just what I'm interested in, and that's when people, whatever. And so I was like, I wanted to get rid of that, and then I wanted to get in that like 5 to 6 minutes. I wanted to get rid of all my military stuff. I did not want to be a bro vet. I don't want to be the military comedian. I just want to be the.
Is there a military comedian?
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, and they die quick.
Because I know a lot of them are probably veterans that maybe don't make it part of their act because there's so many veterans.
Yeah, and I just don't want to be that guy that because it was a real, and I'll admit this happily, and I have before. Like, and a great example is when I did Dry Heat for the first time in March of last year. Yeah, March of last year, when I did Dry Heat for the first time, I opened with my military material because I knew that was an easy way to get the audience on my side.
Okay.
And in my opinion, quite hack-y, but it fucking worked.
Well, it's true to you. I don't think it's hacky. I don't know what it is.
And I was 8 months in.
Yeah.
It was just easy.
Okay.
I mean, it's easy. So I was like, not even 8 months. Maybe it was 8 months, because I started in June to December. That's like 6. And so let's say 9 months. So 9 months in, I'm like, I'm doing a real show. I'm doing whatever I can to get these fuckers on my side.
Oh, yeah, I do.
But I was like, all right, once after this Casadas show, I need to stop doing all this stuff. But then I was like, fuck, man, that's like half my set. It's taken me like a year and a half to get 10 to 12 minutes.
It's insane. You know what I love? And again, it's an improviser's mind. And, a joke on myself, 520 shows over 8 months, and someone would be like, that's as good as he is. But what I like to do now, what I love to do, and I think it's an improviser's mindset, and I do it on the ship too, is my first 10 minutes are it's probably all stuff I've never done before that's related to the now. And I love it. I love it because I trick myself to keep the stakes low, because I know when I'm improvising with audience members and doing that, like, that's what I do. That's what I want to do. That's what I'm paid to do. That's what I do. So I consider my first 20 minutes, 15 minutes is when I'm doing stand-up. I consider that in my mind my opening remarks to get to the stuff I want to do. So it takes all the stress out. So for an example, when I just did a show in Artesia.
Oh, how did that go? You and Karen, right?
It was fantastic. I love the audience so much. But what I probably did 5 minutes on, and these small, I see it in Amarillo too. But in some of these small towns, there's a dude selling like 12 ribeyes for $40 or something out of like an ice truck or something.
Yeah.
So when I went on stage, I go, I feel fantastic. I just bought 40 ribeyes for $8. And then I just talked about it. I go, what is wrong with your town? I go, did you lose your grocery store? I go, why are you buying? This guy's selling street meat. I go, I just packed my Civic full of street meat. So I'm very lucky. I say that to do the example of when you've been around comedy, and I haven't been around pure stand-up as long as I've been an improviser, but we've just been around performing in comedy long enough. I'm so grateful that I go, you know what, the first 10 minutes, I'm just going to talk about stuff that I saw, And but I'm no dummy. If I go, I just bought 40 ribeyes for $8, and they're like, huh? What? Then I'm shifting gears to maybe stuff that I know will work.
But having new material, at least for me, like I'm sure it's for you too, but like for having new material that works, it's like having a new toy.
Yeah, and
I get to play with this.
There's this great Canadian comedian named Dylan Mendelsohn, and he was like,
I know that name.
He was like, when you do new, I work with them a lot. He goes, when you do new stuff, he goes, when you do a new bit, tag it. So that's what I did in Artesia. And I didn't, I always think when he says that, but sometimes you're too.
That's the advice that I've gotten too, is like when you have something new, just add a tag.
When you're up there,
add something.
Because you'll come with something. If the audience is into it, because you're excited about it, they've never heard this stuff before. And then that energy, ride that energy to a tag. So like the tag I had just now, I did it just bullshitting with you, was I just packed it in my Civic. I didn't do that tag when I was there. I think the tag I had there was like street meat. I just came up with that in the moment. I go, ooh. Now, it's very particular. I guess I could tell a story somewhere. I'm like, in Texas, I guess they're selling steaks in the parking lot. But I like that idea of like tagging new stuff. And because I'm an improviser, I go towards the heat of new or immediacy with the audience. And that's another reason I hate open mics, because it's just like everyone's miserable. And you're like, let's have some fun. They're like, no, thank you.
I remember one of
no, thank you.
My favorite when Chuck used to run the Red Door mic on Wednesdays. Yeah. I remember out there, and it was like December.
It's outside, right?
Yeah, it was.
That's another thing. No comedy should be done outside.
Yeah, it was like November or December, and I agree with you, by the way. For the most part, I agree with you. And it was cold as fuck.
Yeah.
And they had like the barrels going that had the fire, and we're all fucking freezing, just like, and then we're all just like shivering and shit. And Chuck's in the back, and he can tell everyone's miserable. Last comic gets off, or about to get off, and he's in the back, and he goes, "Yeah, you people are cold now, but you fuckers will be begging to do this when we're back in there, and there's some drunk bitch yelling over your perfectly crafted material." Oh, yeah. And I'm like, he's right.
You know what's funny about that? It's a funny mentality, because in like at Fallon or back in the day with Letterman or Colbert, those studios are freezing, because you know what it does? And I love it. On the ships, you have this too. I'm in ship mind because I'm going out there. They're cold because the audience then is like this.
Right.
Because if it's warm in there, the audience is like this.
Yeah, you don't want that.
God, why? When it's cold, they're a little alert.
Yeah.
And they're dialed in, especially for a TV taping.
You want them alert but comfortable.
Yeah, I love it.
Alert.
I love TV. I love studio cold. I love it. And that's what ships are too. I love it when I'm in there. Like, I'll wear this little jacket when I rehearse next week, because you like freeze to death in there. But I love it. Because then there's an excitement. And then when it's 1,000 people, it's not cold.
Well, I got to ask too. So down in Artesia, where was that at? Because I spent in total 7 years, but I went to school for 6 years in Roswell.
Okay.
And then I went back there to work at the school for a year.
Okay.
So where in Artesia?
Downtown, man. I never really spent time there. It's funny. This was on a Saturday after the show. Let's get something to eat. One place was open. It's not a tiny town. It's pretty small. It's tiny. It's not like going to Fort Sumner.
Fort Sumner is not a town.
I know.
That is a rest stop that has a McDonald's. That's truth or consequences.
You're right. Or Cuba. You're right.
Yeah.
Same thing. Yeah. But we went to, like, there was one place open. But it was through my act, I could do it anywhere, but it was in a theater, like 200 seater. Oh, that's a dream for me. Because I love that. Second City, you're in a cabaret space. You're in a theater.
Right.
Proscenium Arch. It's fine. But that's what cracks me up sometimes, too. Like, what a show where they're like, hey, look at the performing space. It's like a 2-foot square. Like, it's like a pallet on a pallet. I go, that's it?
That's
the stage? What if you have to act out one of your bits? You're like, don't do that bit.
We've been doing shows up at the block in Rio Rancho at the Bernalillo area. It's a little like it's not little. It's like it's an outdoor venue. But
I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, but they have a bar there where we've been doing shows, and I think they're gonna keep us, because we started out because they have an outdoor stage that's clearly built for music.
Okay.
But they're like, we'll start doing comedy here, and I was like, okay, that'd be great. But like, and my buddy, AJ, I was like, hey man, you should really like because I don't want to get in the way of his his business relationship with the venue owner. But I was like, hey, you should really let her know that, like, even if we get, which we ended up doing, we had, like, for the first 3 shows that we were doing there outdoors, we had maybe at the height 75 to 80 people.
Oh, that's good.
But like,
Hell yeah.
but out there it's a huge space though.
Oh.
So
they're scattered.
Yeah,
and the closest audience member is like 40 feet away.
Yeah.
Good night.
Yeah, 75.
Might as well just do it in your house.
Exactly.
To no one.
Exactly. 75 to 80 looked like 20. But I was like, we had like 75 to 80 at the top. Maybe the lowest was like 40.
Okay.
50 or 40.
These are great in a small room.
Right, exactly. So I was like, hey man, you should let her know that like, this would be a great venue if we had like 200 people. But like with this small amount, I don't know. But we'll be up there. Now they're having us that it got colder. We're in this bar area because it's like a giant space, but then towards the back they have like a cafeteria style setup for a bunch of different little restaurants.
Yeah.
Then above that's a bar.
Okay.
So we've been up in the bar lately. I hope they keep us up there. And anyway, so for a couple of shows, we had this little black metal pop-up stage they had us on.
Sure. Death trap.
Yeah, and I wasn't there for it. But I guess the third show, Josh Fournier stepped on the stage and it just cracked in the middle.
Oh, no. Good. He taught him a lesson.
So now it's like, no, just leave us on the floor. We'll walk around a little bit. We'll work the crowd. It's fine. But yeah, like I remember stepping up on that stage. I thought I was about to get sold off at an auction. I was like, what the fuck
A little
are we
platform,
doing?
man. Not good. Not good. Yeah, I think I've done a show in every possible environment. Oh, have I ever stood on dirt? Yep, I've stood on dirt. But it's funny, too, because the other end of the spectrum, arenas change your style, too. Because of that amount of people, you have to, it's weird. You're riding a different wave. Now, I don't know how it sounds. Sometimes it feels easier because they're all like, there's so many people and they can't wait to have fun. So they're in your pocket a little bit. But the tricky part is you can't step on yourself. You have to say, like, if your punchline is rocks glass and you're like, and that's when she found the rocks glass. You have to take a longer pause than you normally would.
That's what I've heard.
Because if you take a pause like that at an open mic or like a 20-seater or something, you look like you're insane. They're like, hey, he loves his material. You're like, and that's when she found the rocks glass. The open mic's like, this guy's a dick. But you have to do that in an arena because that space is like, ah. And what I love the chemistry of comedy. And you listen for that wave. So before that wave of response crest, you have to hit your next thing, your next build. Get back on your board as that wave's cresting because you don't want it to be like, and that's when she found the rocks glass. And then like, when it's starting to fade off, you go to your next thing because you have to rebuild. It's tough enough to rebuild when there's 10 people watching you, but then there's like 3,000. You rebuild, you really feel it. You're like, and you have to really start climbing back up the hill. So I love it. I love the camera. I love it all. I love it. There's 5 people. I know I say I hate open mics, but I've had fun open mics. I just hate open mics because they will trick you. If for whatever reason, bad room, they don't know what they're doing and setting it up or whatever, you'll drive home and feel bad about yourself. And I look back at some of those and I go, no, that wasn't me. That was the thing. That was the chemistry of the room. But I beat myself up because I didn't have a good time.
Well, I just wonder, because I know this is not what you're referring to, but in a broader sense, I'm never going to let myself, I've made this commitment to myself early on. And a lot of this is because of speaking to the bigger level comics in the city, both on and off the podcast, but like, I'm never going to let myself fall into the trap of bad audience. I think that can lead to negative outcomes because then you start getting, we were talking about delusion earlier, that can lead you to an unhealthy delusion of, no, I am good. You guys suck. Where it's like, okay, no. Now with open mics, like obviously then the nature of it is the only structure is there's a list. And like it's not set up for comedy, but like what I've come to realize is that open mics, they are there, well, how much do you really like this shit? Figure that out first of all, and then it's like outside of that, it's like, okay, you're really there to find out, okay, how do you feel about your delivery? That's why it's like so important for me, like at a bare minimum, I have to audio record every set that I do, whether it's at an open mic or at a comedy club. audio record everything that I do. If
good.
I have the ability, or if I remember to bring one of my cameras,
Yeah.
I'm going to video it.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Study
okay.
tape.
Exactly. How's my material sounding? Just how does it feel coming out of my mouth?
Does it even make sense?
Right. Is there a stream of consciousness into what I'm doing? It's like, okay. And then how's the order? Does it make sense when it's coming out? Is it just, how's my body language? How's all that kind of stuff? Like I try to not work out more than 4 new things per open mic.
That's good.
Just so I can kind of like micro study what am I doing?
Yeah.
I
don't know if I always work with this producer. It's like, there's no such thing as a bad audience. I go, maybe. But if they're all like, I've done a lot of corporate gigs, and if they're all wasted, they're all wasted sales reps for Harbor Freight.
Yeah. Well, there are
Maybe it's like a relationship, not a great match.
Right, yeah.
But what I love about that is it forces me to shift. That's what I'm paid to do, especially as an improviser. I pay and I make them come to me. And so I love Harbor Freight as much as I love a smart crowd.
Are you for real did you do corporate events for Harbor Freight?
No, I would love to. I have a joke I want to use about Harbor Freight. But
because the company that I work for, we just absorbed the contract to provide security for Harbor Freight.
Get us a gig in there. Get us a gig. Just do an open mic at Harbor Freight.
Right next to the chainsaws.
Yeah, no liquor, open mic. Fantastic. No, I love because then you have to get them. You have to figure out what works and bring them to you, which is a fun
it's like
challenge of it too.
Exactly. It's like there are extremes. Like there can be a bad situation for comedy, but I really do think that 9 times out of 10, it's not a bad audience. Maybe you were just the wrong comedian for the audience. Maybe you didn't have the skill set for that audience. Like whatever it took.
Yeah.
Because I really do think like at the end of the day, regardless of what the show is, at least these people, even if they didn't, because you've done enough bar shows. Like
I've done shows where the blender's on the entire time.
Yeah.
NBA Finals over your head.
Yep.
I used to do these shows in LA for all Teamsters that were just, I don't know if they were on it was across the street from Warner Brothers. So I don't know if they were on a 20-minute break, 0 reaction. They're making blended drinks in the back. And surfing competition was over our heads. It was a stage
So the blender, but the blender doesn't know me, but the one, I don't know what it is, but it scratches that part of my brain that goes right to annoyance is a
that doesn't mind. Blenders kill me. I mean, I hate all of it, and I'll have to experience it very soon, within days. It's all out there. But but you know what? It's also not your responsibility because it's like I didn't create this room. I just got to do my little thing.
Right,
I got to dance around this nonsense.
Exactly. It's like, how do you get around it?
And I think calling it out sometimes doesn't do you any favors, too. Because in the audience that may not have been in tune to it, it's like, oh, you're right. I'm having a horrible time now. Maybe they're so tuned into you. They're like, I love this dude. And then you're like, what's going on with Margaritaville? And then they're like, what? Oh, yeah, I guess this isn't fun. So I hate it when I hate it when comedians, of course, the dumb thing too is like, oh, that one didn't work. Yeah, we all know. We were all here for it. You don't have to call out that it didn't work. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
if a joke didn't work, you're just, okay, you like that little hole you dug? You're just digging deeper.
That's a pitfall that I find myself, that I'll accidentally put myself in every now and again. I'm like,
it'll get you a little titter. It'll get you a little laugh, but the laugh's not worth it.
But it's cheap and it's hack. And then I think a little, not deeper, but like another layer to that is that you're talking a little bit earlier about the difference between an experienced comic that gets up there and does their thing and then one that's clearly like newer, timid, whatever.
Yeah.
Stand-up comedy, I really feel like, is you're swimming in an open water and your audience members, they're not sharks, but if you start showing a little bit of blood, they might turn in to a little bit of like, oh, wait a minute, who's this guy? Is he not?
Yeah, exactly.
Is he not professional? Is he
They're maybe not even going to heckle you, but they'll just tune out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're stumbling around. That's why I tell every comic, I go, you want to go, the best way to go fast is go slow. And you want to go slow with quality? Take an acting class.
Well, that's what I was taught in the military, is slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
Oh, hell yeah.
And while I was having this conversation too with AJ and with, I think Jake was there too, we were talking about this, and I was like, look, I can live, like specifically with my joke that I'm working on right now. I've been working on my Christian household material for a long time.
Yeah.
But with the new bit that I've added inside of that about suicide, It's like, I know there's a funny thing in there, and
Right.
I'm working on what makes it work and what doesn't. But it's like, at least with that joke, if that joke dies and it doesn't get any laughter, the 100% hit radius on it so far is that people are interested. I can live with interested. I can live with focusing on the person speaking.
Yeah.
Where I know to kill something is when it's not even grabbing their interest at all.
The setup, they're like,
when they're bored.
well, the best is when that's what I love about comedy. And it's different than stand-up, especially. It's different than improvising, but improvising, you learn it too, is the work you have to do, and you learn it all in front of people. So, like I said, we're all connected to each other. So they're involved in it too, where you eventually shape it so it's this thing. And then the greatest feeling in the world, if you have a really hot crowd, is they laugh at the setup. There's not even something really that you're like, what? What? That's when you know you're like, oh, wow, I'm in a hot bath here. This is fantastic. When they laugh at the setup. But I love that art form part of comedy where the only way to know how to do it is to get up in front of people and shape it. And it's tough. So that's why open mics are so,
it's a double-edged sword.
They're crucial. They're
It's
horrible.
like they're
and you can't live without them.
Exactly. They're a key part of the equation.
Yeah.
You can't get to that answer without putting that in the equation. But man, is it brutal to get through. And that's why, I've become very thankful to start out in Albuquerque because of how tiny the scene is.
Yeah.
More opportunities come your way. But then on the other hand, it's like the stage time isn't there. And so it's like, I sat down and I was like really thinking about it. And I was like, well, I need to get more diligent about it, but I do spend time writing, and I do spend time going over material, trying to figure, like we were talking about earlier, like the stream of consciousness, the stream of logic. Does this make sense? Is it funny? Whatever it is, like what big thing for me has been like, what's my economy of words? Am I getting to the funny fast enough? Like, it was like Sunday night, I was going over my material, and there's the first joke that I told at a show that was like a bigger joke. And I was like, I know there's something funny here.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I turned it from like a 2.5 minute bullshit whatever into like a minute, maybe 45 seconds.
That's usually the key.
Where it's like, okay, we get there. How quickly can I get to the funny? So I think about that, but I bring this up because it's like, you can spend, in a scene like Albuquerque, you spend all the time in the world going over material and writing and whatever, but let's say you hit an open mic every night. Let's just say you do that.
Sure.
You hit an open mic of various qualities, obviously, but you hit an open mic every night, 35 minutes of stage time a week. And that's not a lot.
It's tough.
It's not a lot. And so it's like, how does that keep going, and how do you get better at that? And that's why it was so crucial. Like you asked a little bit earlier about the Safe House mic.
Yeah.
That's why I really wanted to do it on Saturdays, is because in theory, my thought process was like, in theory, you are, if you have a show that night at like 7:30, whatever, certainly after that, but like even if you have a show at 7 or 7:30, you can show up to the mic. Mic starts at 6. You knock the rust off a little bit, figure things out, and then you can go from there into your show. Now, has the Albuquerque community taken advantage of that? No, they haven't.
They might show up. The best open mics are still in Santa Fe, and I think it's just a crowd thing.
In Santa Fe?
Yeah, the best.
I've only done one in Santa Fe.
They're the best.
And
I've done them at different venues. They're all superior. And my theory is, and it could be wrong, but this is the vibe I get from seeing a lot of audiences, is I think they're just a little bit smarter and a little bit more engaged.
Are you calling Albuquerque
No, I'm just like,
dumb?
do you know what I mean? Think about the open mics in Albuquerque sometimes.
Because I would agree with you.
Where you're like, whatever you say, where you're like, I don't know what thing you could talk about, like, I don't know, cellular division or something. And in Albuquerque, not all Albuquerque crowds, but most of the open mics are like, what? They're like, get to the drug material. Get to the sex.
Yeah.
We want the sex.
I want to hear about how you fucked her.
That's exactly. I get that vibe. And that could be wrong. That could just be me. Once your car gets broken into 12 times, you get a little biased about a place. You know what I mean? The first 8, I go, things are going to turn around. But the 12th time your car gets broken into, you're like, I don't know if I like the people here. No, I do. You know, and I'm just saying the open mics in Santa Fe, way better. Because also, I think it's this thing too. And this was true the other night. the audiences there are more likely to be tourists, which for my money is what I'm in front of. I'm in front of an audience like the other night. There's two people from Minnesota, 6 people from Colorado, another 4 people. I'm like,
Mike?
Yeah, and these are all audience members.
Where at? Was it Chili Line?
No, Cake Cafe or something.
Oh,
Cakes Cafe.
Yeah. I know
Plus,
what you're
there's
talking.
a stage.
I haven't been there, but I've heard of that place.
No,
Yeah.
I just like those kind of audiences because for me, it's like it's a out of fashion way to describe it, but it's like a network television audience, which is the audiences I connect with the most. I don't connect with the audience that is like they're like I don't know. They're just like get to the jokes about abortion. I'm like, I'm not your guy. I shouldn't be here. I'm not your guy, or whatever they want. You know what I mean? As opposed to like a network television audience are like, what are you gonna? I go, what were your bullies like when you were in school? And they're like, and they want to hear about it. You know. I've had just as many fun open mic experiences in Albuquerque too, but I do prefer them lately.
Interesting. I might have to, because I haven't been up to Santa Fe to do it. I've only done one open mic up there, and that was last summer. I might have to go back up there, but I'm booked to do Knuckles Brewery. Next month. TJ got me on that one.
I don't know what the show is like, but I was there just as a patron this past Saturday. Cool place, man.
I'm very excited.
Yes.
Well, it's funny because a girl that I had on the podcast a couple of years ago, it ended up falling through, but her dad is the owner of Knuckles.
Oh.
And he gave me like a whole tour of the place. Because I don't think they got the approval for it or they got the whatever, but he saw my interview with his daughter and he was like, wait, we're doing this documentary on like, something. He's a big, like, big into farming and he's big into like, I forget what it was, but they were doing something with these specific flowers that was going to end up cultivating into a medicine. Oh. And they're doing a documentary about it. And they
Weed.
Right. And they wanted me to ask the questions pretty much. And he's like, yeah, I'll show you my brewery that I do. I'll show you where we do all the experiments. Like, this dude's lit a fucking life. Like, he's a big engineer and all this stuff. And he took me around Knuckles, and I was like, this would be a really cool place for stand-up. This is a nice fucking... He's like, yeah, I own most of the brewery. Then I have, like, shares in this theater up here. And do you know my friend George Martin? He's a good friend of mine. And I'm like, you mean the creator of Game of Thrones?
Let's get a George Martin open mic going.
Oh, my God. I'd love to talk to
that new bar looks cool. You know, he's got that new Game of Thrones bar he opened up.
Yeah, my girlfriend's bugging me to take her up there.
You got to go.
And
what does your girlfriend do?
She works for Costco.
What does she think of your comedy addiction, your problems, your problems?
She's supportive of it.
Does she like comedy?
Oh yeah. Well, she didn't like comedy before she met me.
Okay.
It was I'm gonna say it was ever a pain, but it was like it was a bit of a trial to get her to watch a comedy movie.
Yeah.
Because this wasn't her thing. And we connected.
She's a muggle, right? She doesn't perform comedy.
No.
You don't want that.
No, yeah.
Because then sometimes they're always on.
I would never. No, even if her and I split up, I would never date a comedian.
I was dated like aspiring comedians. I've dated comedians. Sometimes it's nice because you understand the lifestyle, but then sometimes if they're always on, you want to drive off a bridge, you know, because they're like, dated a girl that always had to say my name in a funny way.
But where my brain goes to is like, I've learned this. It was a piece of advice that I got from Sarah Kennedy last year, and I never really believed her, but I've started to now. I completely totally believe it. She was like, the world of comedy is very tiny, and the distance between you and your favorite comedian is not as far as you think it is. Right. And I was like, you're full of shit. And I told her, I was like, but the distance between me and Dave Chappelle, fuck off. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Right. But a year later now, or not even a year later, a little under a year later, I'm like, oh, I've hung up with people who are like the openers for Tony Hinchcliffe.
Yeah.
And the openers for Theo Vaughn.
Sure.
And like I hung up with fucking William Montgomery last weekend. And it's like, oh shit, he is 2 levels removed from Joe Rogan.
Right.
Oh my God, this is a small world. And so I take that logic. I'm like, even if her and I ever did split up, I would never date a comic because the world is too tiny. Yeah. Her and I don't work out. And I was like, well, who is she connected to? What opportunities am I getting away from? And
I guess
I don't want to be known as a weirdo or as like that guy or whatever.
I suppose.
I'm here to make friends.
People are crazy regardless of what they do.
This is very true.
Everyone's crazy.
This is insane.
You just have to make sure your crazies match. They can be a comedian. They don't have to be a comedian, but you just have to make sure like it's a match. And that's the theme. You have to be obsessed about this stuff, and it has to be a match. Are you a match with that audience that night? How are you going to work to make it a match? Are you a match with your partner? How are you going to make that work to make sure? You have to match up. And if sometimes it's not a match, and then there's always another show, and there's always an opportunity for a match.
I think that's some beautiful wisdom right there, Cody Duff.
I think so.
Listen, this has been a blast.
Thank you, buddy.
Dude, thank you.
Appreciate it, man.
Oh, you're very welcome. This has been a pleasure. Best of luck to you on the cruise.
I was going to put this on if my team won. I was going to do, and then they just got beat up by another team I like.
Who's your team?
Cleveland Guardians.
Oh, okay.
But they got brutally beat by another team that I love, and very similar cities, the Baltimore Orioles, which aren't that good. They aren't that good this year. But I'm soaking it up because another thing about ships, you have to pay for Wi-Fi. So I'm going to miss listening to baseball. I love to listen to baseball. I'd rather listen than watch it.
Yeah, old school.
I mean, I'd love to see it live,
right?
But I'd much rather listen than watch it on TV. I just like it because I like the theater of the mind. So I'm soaking all this up because on the ship, I'm like, I remember watching other comedian sets like in the one corner, like off the coast of St. Thomas, where you can get a signal, and I'm like during playoff baseball, and I'm like, ah! And the comedian's like, don't watch your stupid games during my set. I'm like, I'm sorry, Barry.
That's funny.
Thank you, brother.
Dude,
I can't wait to hear. You know what's fun when I come back too is I can't wait to see what's going on, what's happening, what's the next thing. What do you have coming up the shows for yourself?
Yeah, so this will come out in about 2 weeks or so. So this upcoming weekend, it's very strange for me. So I'm not a weed guy at all, but I smoke a little bit here and there. But like, I'm hosting a 420 show at Launchpad. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay.
And the big reason why I said yes to that is because two of the bands that are playing, I'm friends with both of them, the Mango Cakes and the Rhythms, and the leader of the Rhythms, he asked me personally.
Cool.
He was like, hey, man, I really like what you've done so far. And we've been friends for a little bit. But he was like, I like what you've done so far. I think you're good. Can you host the show for us?
So what does that mean? You're going to do some time at the top?
No.
No comedy?
They just want me to keep the energy. I'll make a couple of jokes.
Do some comedy.
Yeah, I'll give them a little bit of jokes.
And you have the right approach because you don't get to do this so much anymore, but the way show business used to work, and I got in on the tail end, I love show business so much. So any taste I've had of this stuff, but I used to open up for bands. So like, everything from like Kenny Rogers and Sarah Evans to like Cheap Trick.
Oh shit!
Elvis Costello.
What?
Yeah, Cole. All these bands. But
you opened up for Elvis Costello?
Yeah, he's one of my favorites.
Get the fuck out of here.
And he's great because after the show, he was so posh. He's drinking literally from a proper cup and saucer, and he has like a giant scarf on. And I was like, wow, this guy's a rock star. And I gave him a book, an autographed book from the Second City, and he goes, oh, my friend Dave Foley does something like this. And I go, yeah, Dave Foley. Kid in the Hall, news radio, comedy legend.
Yeah.
But the old jokes that a million comedians have made about opening up for bands, it still holds true, man. One time, to get the audience not to kill me when I was opening, was it 38 Special or something? This is like, again, not a match. Me opening up for 38 Special. But when I went on stage to try to tell the audience, to telegraph that I was cool, it was these giant speaker stacks. And I acted like the band was where the audience couldn't see them, and the band was into me. So when I came out, I was like, I know you guys. I know. I'm going to bring you out. There's no one there. Like, I remember an audio guy on the side of the stage was looking behind him like, what the? This guy is out of his mind. Didn't work. Still didn't work.
Funny.
It is brutal.
But yeah, I'm doing that.
They're not there for me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so I'm doing that, and that'll be a lot of fun. And also, I'm a huge fan of the venue. Like, I love going to Launchpad. Oh, yeah.
Is that where they do the what's it called? The one-liner?
Yeah, they did one-liner madness there. But it's a little, like, 250-person max bar. But it has a great stage. I've seen a bunch of great bands there, and
they stand the whole time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to do comedy.
Yeah,
because then they're like, get to the music.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they do, and even when they're sitting,
yeah,
we'll kill you.
Yeah, exactly. So I've got
but do comedy. Do like when you come out, do a little bit.
I'll do like 2 minutes.
And if they're into it,
yeah,
because it's gonna, you probably already know this, but they're gonna tell you like, listen, the turnover between the Mango Cakes and the Rhythms, it's gonna be like 15 minutes max. It's going to be 45 minutes. So in your back pocket, be ready for that because then you're filling air, but also it's a hostile crowd. Just so you know.
Yeah,
and I don't know anything about their audiences.
Oh, and they're going to be stoned as shit because it's a 420.
Maybe
so
not. 420.
Yeah,
I don't know what to tell you.
They're going to be stoned as shit. So
People is like, do you want to do this show? And I go, where is it? And they go, it's at the Rocky Turquoise Dispensary. I'm like, not a match.
No. But so that'll be fun. And then I'm doing a couple of shows up at the Block over the next couple of weeks. I've got Santa Fe on May 17th. I've done at Knuckles Brewery. Doing Don't Tell at the end of the month. That'll be a lot of fun. And then I've got Austin, Texas. I'll be out there from the 25th to the 30th. Going to go sign up for Kill Tony. Going to go do a show out there. Going to try to get in a couple more shows. I know a couple people are throwing on out there.
Oh, yeah.
But there's one big, I don't want to say anything yet just because I don't get on it. But there is one big show out there that I have like a 10% chance of getting on.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to push for that.
Well, I would promote my shows to come see me on the ship, but the cover charge is like $1,500. I'm going to be out of Florida to St. Thomas, Tortola, a private island somewhere. Then I'll be going to the Dominican Republic. Cover charge is $1,500, single occupancy. But then the ticket prices, I think I will be on the land tour. I think we are going to play Albuquerque, I hope in October or something, at Route 66. So
Sweet.
I'll let you know that. Otherwise, if you do such things, you're wasting your life. But if you're on Instagram, Real Cody Dove, at Real Cody Dove.
Follow this man. He's the shit.
Thank you, buddy.
Cody Dove, you're awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, everyone, for listening and watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. If you like what you've seen here, please share it with as many people as possible. Follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, Apple Podcasts. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. It really does help out the podcast. And if you're feeling extra generous, feel free to subscribe to our Patreon, which I have coming soon.